Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking on a three-nation visit on Saturday, the 16th of November. He'll go to Nigeria, to Brazil, and to Guyana. The visit to Brazil is for the 19th G20 Summit that's being held on the 18th and 19th of November. This is the Prime Minister's third official visit to Brazil. He has visited there earlier in 2014 and then subsequently in 2019. Be aware, you may have seen the press release of the ministry yesterday. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking on a three-nation visit on Saturday, the 16th of November. He'll go to Nigeria, to Brazil, and to Guyana. As Randir has mentioned, my colleagues will brief you on the visits to Nigeria and Guyana. Let me just say a few words about the visit to Brazil. The visit to Brazil is for the 19th G20 Summit that's being held on the 18th and 19th of November. This is the Prime Minister's third official visit to Brazil. He has visited there earlier in 2014 and then subsequently in 2019. Both occasions were for the BRICS summits that were being hosted by Brazil in those years. This particular G20 summit is also going to be a very special summit because it will be the first time that the African Union will take its place in the G20 grouping as a member. You would all recall that it was at the New Delhi summit last year that the African Union was inducted as a full member of the G20. Apart from the G20 member countries, Brazil has also invited 18 guest countries, 5 each from Africa, Latin America and Asia, and 3 countries from Europe. There are also 15 international organizations that will be attending the summit. For India, this summit will be particularly important as we look to continuity of our priorities from the New Delhi summit, where a number of issues of interest, especially to emerging markets and developing economies, were also discussed. You're also aware that the G20 has emerged as the primary forum for international economic cooperation and on issues of global significance. It provides an opportunity for leaders of the 21 largest economies in the world, representing about 88% of global GDP, 78% of international trade, and nearly 3/4 of the world's population, to come together and discuss key issues impacting the world, such as progress on sustainable development goals, multilateral reforms, tackling environmental and climate challenges, debt sustainability, bridging the global digital divide, the energy transition, and emerging technologies. A few words about Brazilian priorities, the presidency's priorities for this particular edition of the G20. The theme of this G20 is building a just world and a sustainable planet. And the 3 key priorities of the Brazilian presidency are social inclusion and the fight against hunger and poverty, energy transitions and the promotion of sustainable development in its economic, social and environmental dimensions, and finally reform of global governance institutions. The flagship deliverable of the Brazilian presidency is the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, which will be launched during the inaugural session of the Rio Summit. This will be an initiative that is open to non-G20 countries as well, as also national, regional and international organizations, regional and multilateral development banks, civil society organizations and philanthropic institutions. There are 3 pillars under this alliance, and India will be joining the national and knowledge pillars of this alliance. This will be the main sessions will be followed by a closing ceremony where the chairmanship of or the presidency of the G20 will be handed over by President Lula of Brazil to President Ramaphosa of South Africa. This will also, in a sense, cap a run of 4 emerging markets and developing economy, EMD countries, holding the presidency in succession of the G20, starting with Indonesia, India, Brazil now, and South Africa the next year. I just want to make one point, which is that the priorities of the Brazilian presidency, which I mentioned a little while earlier, they align very well with the priorities that India had championed and voiced during its presidency of the G20. To refer to the key priority, which is hunger and poverty during this presidency. Last year at the G20, as you would recall, we had come out with the G20 Deccan high-level principles on food security and nutrition, which align with the main priority of the Brazilian presidency this year. Reform of multilateral institutions fit for the 21st century was another key priority of our presidency, and this is again being taken forward by Brazil this year. And the G20 leaders' call for better, bigger and more effective multilateral development banks during the New Delhi summit found resonance globally and is being carried forward this year through the G20 roadmap for better, bigger and more effective MDBs. And this is a roadmap that will be endorsed by the leaders at the Rio Summit. And as regards energy transition, the ambition set in New Delhi on tripling renewable energy capacity and doubling the rate of energy efficiency by 2030 are again being reaffirmed at the G20 this year. Another point of interest, which is the Empowerment of Women Working Group, which was envisioned during India's presidency, was convened for the first time this year during the Brazilian presidency, and it cemented the narrative of women-led development in the G20. The Research and Innovation Working Group, which was conceived during our presidency, started its meetings this year and finalized its terms of reference. And the Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group and the Startup 20 Engagement Group, which were also initiated during India's presidency, have been carried forward this year. So the ambitious language that was reflected in the New Delhi leaders' delegation has provided the basis for many of the G20 outcome documents that have been adopted this year. Some of our flagship priorities, such as digital public infrastructure, mission life, women-led development, etc., have all found resonance as well as reflection in the outcome documents of the Brazilian presidency. So we look forward to a very successful and productive G20 summit in Rio.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.